Hi guys, Dr. Erin Kinney here, and today I'm going to be talking about a few tips to help you prevent allergies. It's March, which means allergy season is coming and coming quickly, and so now is really the time to start putting in those practices that will help prevent the allergy symptoms from coming on. So I've got 5 quick tips that you can start doing now. And if you want to watch a longer version of this talk, you can check out the archived videos on my Dr. Kinney Facebook page. I did a class last week. It's a little bit of a longer video. So this is just going to be a brief recap. So tip number 1 is reduce your stress. And if you've watched my other videos, you know I talk about this a lot. Stress is the number 1 thing that ramps up your immune system, making it attack things that it shouldn't, like pollen. And that's what allergies are. It's your body attacking pollen, thinking that the pollen is something harmful, like a bacteria or a virus. So whatever you can do to reduce your daily stress is going to be huge in terms of starting to prevent allergy symptoms. I recommend, adding in a daily meditation practice. This is really easy to do. There's a great app called Insight Timer. It's free. It has thousands of free guided meditations, beautiful music you can listen to. There's a timer that'll have a nice chime that will start you off on your meditation. So that's a really great resource. I've started in the morning. I wake up, my alarm goes off, I immediately open up that app and do a 5 to 10 minute mini meditation. So it doesn't have to be a lot of time. You don't have to meditate for an hour. You will get benefit even if it's for 5 minutes. The other thing you can do is to practice belly breathing, putting one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. Take a deep breath, and when you breathe in, make sure that the hand on your belly is the one that's doing the moving. That's getting breath and oxygen into your abdomen, which helps to activate the parasympathetic system, which is the opposite of the sympathetic system, which is the fight or flight part of your nervous system. So that's another really simple, free way that you can help to reduce stress. You can do that anywhere. I usually recommend at least 5 breaths. 10 is better, and the more often you do that, the better it will be. And so any sort of stress reducing practice, if that's reading a book, if that's going for a long walk, if that's taking a bath, whatever it is for you, start adding that in and try to do something daily. That will really have the most profound effect on keeping your immune system a little more stable and not overreacting. So tip number 2 is to reduce your overall allergic burden. And what I mean by that is the more things that your body's exposed to that it could potentially be reacting to, like dust or mold or certain foods, so we want to try to reduce those things that we can control. We can't always control how much pollen is falling from the sky onto our car. I mean, you can keep your car in a garage, but you can't control if you go outside, you can't stop the trees from pollinating. So, but what you can control is how much dust you're exposed to in your house, what types of food you're putting into your body that may be potentially allergenic for you. If you've had any food allergy testing done, now is the time to definitely stay away completely 100% from those foods or food sensitivity testing. I also recommend cutting out gluten, dairy, and sugar, especially during these months prior to allergy season. And during allergy season, you'll notice that your symptoms are so much better if you're not eating these inflammatory foods that can kind of upregulate the immune system and make it overreactive again. Same thing, so cortisol and any sort of inflammation will cause the immune system to become a little hyperactive and attack things that it shouldn't be. So cut out that foods and make sure you've changed your air filters. And if you don't already have one, I recommend getting some sort of air purifying system, and it's best to keep it in your bedroom. If you suffer from allergies, put an air purifier in your bedroom. That's where you spend the longest amount of time in one room typically, where you're breathing the same air. So recirculating and cleaning that air in your bedroom is going to be really beneficial and will help to remove that allergic burden. So that's tip number 2, is remove and reduce your allergic burden. Tip number 3 is keep your nasal cavities hydrated. So start using your neti pot now. A lot of people don't start using it until they start getting symptoms. Start doing it now, using a little saline. So it's doing a saline rinse essentially. That helps to keep the nasal mucosa here really healthy, and it keeps the tight junction function between those cells working properly. Part of the reason why we have allergies to things like pollen is we breathe the pollen in, and if that mucosa here is dehydrated or that tight junction function is not what it should be, that pollen can cross directly into the bloodstream, and that's when the body will start to create antibodies to it and start to attack the pollen, because the pollen's not supposed to come in through that route. So it's the same thing if you've watched any of my videos where I talk about leaky gut, or you're a patient of mine and I talk to you about that. It's the same principle behind the whole leaky gut thing. If something crosses that barrier, a mucosal barrier, whether it's in your nose or in your intestinal lining, if it crosses that barrier in a way that the body didn't intend for it to, the immune system's going to be on alert, right? It's like my analogy where, if you're 21 and you're going to a 21 and up bar, but you don't get a stamp, the bouncers are going to be walking around saying, okay, where's your stamp? Even though we know you are 21, you didn't get a stamp, you didn't come in through the right route, so now we're going to be after you. So a similar thing happens in the body when stuff goes into the bloodstream in a way that it's not supposed to. So by keeping those nasal mucosa membranes in your nose hydrated, that really helps to keep that barrier nice and functioning like it should be. So that's tip number 3. Tip numbers 4 and 5 are 2 supplements that I recommend. The first one is D-Hist. I've talked about this in some of my other videos, specifically in the one where I talk about treating colds and flu. So D-Hist is the best natural antihistamine product that I have found. I've tried tons of them personally, and this is the one that works hands down. It is amazing. And I have so many patients and friends that take this and they're like, I cannot believe that this works as well, if not better, than a Zyrtec or a Claritin. So what it is, it contains something called bromelain, which is an enzyme from pineapple. It contains an herb called nettles, which helps to stabilize the immune system. And the bromelain helps to kind of break up inflammation and break up mucus. And it contains something called N-acetylcysteine, which also does a similar thing. It's a mucolytic. It breaks up mucus. And it contains a little bit of quercetin, which is a high-powered antioxidant, which again helps to stabilize the immune system. It helps to reduce histamine from getting produced, which is when you get all those itchy symptoms. So D-Hist is amazing. The way to take it when you first start taking it, and I would recommend starting to take it now if you are someone who suffers from chronic allergies, you take 2 capsules 3 times a day for the first 10 days to kind of let it build up in your system, and then you can reduce to taking 2 capsules per day. You can also take it as needed if the pollen is really high and you're like, today's going to be a bad day, you can up the dose a little bit. But I find I have some patients that I have on this D-Hist year round, and it really makes a big difference. After they've been on it for 6 months or so, they'll say, I didn't really have bad seasonal allergies this year, because the D-Hist does a really good job of calming the immune system down. So that is great. If you want to know where you can order it, if you're not already on full script, shoot us an email. We'll get you added. We'll send you a script for that. And the last tip, the second supplement that I'm going to recommend, is something called GI Revive. And this it's part of my gut healing protocol, but it helps to heal any mucosal lining in the body. So it has herbs that we call them demulcents. They soothe and smooth, and they help to heal up the mucosal lining here. They help to heal up the gut. And a lot of patients that are chronic allergy sufferers also have leaky gut going on. So I find that this works wonders. So check out the GI Revive. You can take that. It's in both a capsule and in a powder. It's just pure preference, whichever you prefer. The powder you can mix into a smoothie, or you can mix in water. The capsules you take about between 2 to 4 per day, and you start taking those now and take them through allergy season. So those are my 5 tips for you to start now. 1, stress reduction. 2, reduce your allergic burden. 3, keep those nasal cavities hydrated. 4, the D-Hist, and 5, the GI Revive. If you guys have any questions or concerns, or need to get on the schedule for a follow-up to make sure those allergies don't come back, please send us an email. And looking forward to talking to you soon. Take care.